It was like, ooh, somebody
I've
coming
never
in the
heard
moment.
this.
Look at that. Look at me opening up secrets you didn't know about your girl.
I can't believe this. You've had sex in a dressing room before a show. Like, what
Now, Sharon, what's been going on in your life? What's on your mind? How's your vibe? How's your heart?
You know what? I've been doing really well. I'm thinking about remodeling my kitchen.
Really? What made you want to remodel it now?
You know what? I always thought when your dad bought the house, because, you know, he picked the house out because I was traveling.
Yeah.
I always just thought the cabinets were so old-fashioned. And I was watching the home improvement show. You know those shows where they do the home improvement?
Mm-hmm.
And I just really loved, you know, how they can gut out a house and how you can make one space look totally different. If you know, put the right cabinets in, the right floors and all that stuff. So I've just really been thinking about, I tried to save money because I know what it's like when you have no money.
Okay.
So it's always a struggle with myself when I have to spend money. You know what I mean? But I do know that sometimes you have to spend money and you should spend quality. You know, you should focus on quality. That's, you know, because if you buy the right floor with the right warranties and the right stuff, then it can last. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
versus the cheap stuff. You know what I mean?
It's true, but it's all just too much. That
Yeah.
remodeling thing for me, it's like I just want to buy the house that's already ready. You know what I mean? Because the last time that happened to me where I got caught up in all that stuff, it was just so terrible.
Right.
But speaking of when we were at the house the last time, you know, we was hanging out with all the uncles.
Right,
You know,
right.
my dad, for those of you guys, my dad is one of 9 boys.
That's right.
And it's so weird for both of my parents whenever I'm around them because whenever y'all are with y'all siblings, you guys, the significance of your birth order really becomes apparent.
Yeah.
I can tell each and every time that y'all are the babies.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Now, how can you tell? I could tell because how they treat me, but what is the telltale sign for you?
you guys become like quiet. Like you guys become like the little brother or the little sister. You know what I mean? You could just tell that like Uncle Ronald is older than Uncle Keith because
Yeah.
he will, you know, he'll be like, Keith, shut up. You know what I mean?
Right.
Uncle Keith will be like, I'm cool. You know, he gives you the typical middle
Yeah,
child
yeah,
vibe. You know,
yeah.
that I'm somewhere in the middle. Like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you have, oh my gosh, Uncle Lamont. They act like twins. So my dad has a
Right.
twin, Lawrence and Lamont. And then when you are with Auntie Karen, y'all give that same twin vibe where y'all just both sitting there just watching and looking on. You know, the Auntie Nene
Yeah.
doing all her extra stuff and y'all
Yeah.
don't say nothing. Like, you guys just kind of like,
Right.
you can tell
Right.
when you are the baby of the family, you watch on a lot.
Right.
And so y'all, I can tell that y'all are kind of
Right.
like letting the older ones lead the way
Yeah.
and y'all watching and sitting back and y'all don't really say too
When
much.
you're the baby of the family, everybody kind of caters to you, but it also, like you say, you have to sit back and watch. You hear a lot of, you know, you don't know what you're doing. Just hold on. You're so young. You don't know what's going on. Oh, you're so young. Ooh, that's so cute. I used to be like you. You know, you hear a lot of
to the point where
of
you
that.
just watch. To the point y'all just start watching.
Yeah, but also it's a respect thing too, right?
Yeah.
Your dad's family is even more so than mine because it was more women in my family, and I don't care when you put a bunch of women together. It's gonna always be some friction or something crazy, chaotic going on. But to me, from watching your dad's family with the 9 boys, they seem to have that hierarchy of respect. Like you said,
For sure.
Ronald is older and all that. And my family,
I feel like you
not
guys
as-
do have it. Even if
Yeah.
y'all cuss each other out, I do feel like you do respect
Bitch,
them.
I love you.
Yeah. No, y'all will curse each other out, but I think there's still always that imprint. Like, even with Auntie Maddie, God rest her
Yes,
soul,
yeah.
you know, she never really yielded the I'm older,
Yeah.
but you felt it. When she
Yeah.
came in the room, everybody was like, yeah, that's my older sister Maddie.
Yeah, and she
You
expected it too. You know, and for years I heard I didn't go to the prom because of you and Karen. Karen is my twin sister.
Yeah.
And she says, I didn't go to the prom because of you and Karen. And I was like, why is that? Because mom didn't have a babysitter. And she had to work late.
Siblings love to give you this kind of
Yeah,
sob
and I
story.
was like, and then, but my older brother, God rest his soul, he said she didn't go to the prom because she didn't have a date.
That's messed up. And that's typical of an older brother.
Yes.
So, I mean, when you look at your kids, right, there's L'Oreal, there's me, and then there's the twins. But I was the baby for 7 years before y'all even had the twins. You know what I mean? Me and L'Oreal are 4 years apart, so she was the only child for 4 years.
Yes.
Then I came along, and I was ruling the world as the baby. And then I became the middle child.
Yes.
So do you feel like I act more like a baby, or do you feel like I act more like the baby, or do you feel like I act more like a middle child, or do I switch it up?
I think you switch it up. I think I think definitely when L'Oreal was like 7 and you were like 4 or 3 or whatever, you acted like a little baby sometimes. But you were always the boss baby. You were always the boss baby, telling people what was going down. And then I would say you have always been that independent kid. If I could just, the best way to describe it is you've always been helpful, always been independent. Out of all 4 of my kids, you were the one, if I couldn't find something, you would find it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, I can't find my car keys. Keke, here they go. I can't find my shoes. Here they go, Mom. So you were very resourceful. I would always tell Larry, I can't find something, but I know Keke will find it.
That is so funny.
You were good with that. And then you had a great sense of humor. You were very funny, but not trying to be funny. Just things that
that is so crazy because that happens today. I'll just be regular talking and people will be, I used to hate that actually when I would be dating people. I would go on dates and they were like, girl, you funny. And I'm like, I'm serious, motherfucker. Like they would think, I dated this one foreign guy and I felt like if he was starting
that was a communication problem.
But I felt like he was totally fetishizing me being the American girl. Yeah. Because I would say regular stuff like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Let's keep it real. You're so cute.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying for real, let's keep it real.
Yeah, but when you're dealing with people from another country and then you talk slang, you don't, sometimes, they're emulating what they see in music videos and American culture and they misuse some of the slang.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now it's time for me to chat with Sasheer and Nicole. I can't wait to hear what they're going to be talking about.
Baby, this is Keke.
Okay, guys, who's ready to get raunchy? Because I'm sitting here with 2 hilarious women who I know are going to make us laugh today, okay? You may know them from their Best Friends podcast, or you've seen them on TV in countless different projects. Please welcome to the show the hilarious Nicole Byer and Sasheer Zamata. Hello.
Hello. Hi.
Hi.
How are you guys doing? I mean, what's going on in your world today? I was just telling you this morning, my baby had me up and tired. So how did you guys start your day? What are the vibes?
I was in Vegas over the weekend. I did a show that nobody at the hotel knew I was doing. It really was humbling. But I did some stand-up, and then I stayed for Drag Race Live. But my flight was at 6 a.m., so I feel wild.
I bet.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. It's always like that, this entertainment schedule.
Yeah. Well, I had a nice day. I meditated. I stretched.
Oh, yes. Meditated and stretched. I'm always trying to get that more into my schedule, but then I'm like, before I know it, the day is over. You know what I mean? I really think I got to do an active, to be better at actively putting that in my life because, it makes a difference. Okay, so I knew I wanted to talk to you guys because you 2 are so funny and so unafraid to be your authentic selves. So where do you get your confidence from? How did you manage to stay authentic through your work?
I feel like I can't help but be authentic in my work. When it comes to stuff that I create, like my stand-up, I write everything from a place of truth. So something that happened to me, something that I'm confused by, angered by, and then it just goes from there. But it doesn't feel good when it's inauthentic, and also audiences can tell. So I try to keep it as close to real as possible.
Yeah. I don't know how to not be me.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could keep doing it if I try. Do you know what I mean? I'm just a loud person who likes a nice time.
Yeah.
People ask me that too, and I feel the same way you guys do. Well, I don't really have anybody else to be, but I do think that sometimes, I hate to say it, but I do think more times often than not, people do feel like they've got to tamper themselves down to be understood or to be able to communicate. You know what I mean? I think that's probably happening more often than not, which is why when people are 100% themselves, no holds barred, it is kind of a shocking. Do you think that it's harder for women to prove themselves in comedy?
I think when it used to be like very gatekeepy, I think it was hard where it was like you could only perform at these clubs, but now you can perform like, I don't know, in a shoe store. There's so many different shows that you could do. And then like Instagram is a huge thing where you literally can perform to people who want to hear the things you are saying. So I think it's much
The audience
easier
is
for
bigger.
people now.
Yeah, and there's like a demand for diverse voices too. Like people are craving any kind of feedback or recognition or feeling seen from someone that might look like them. So yeah, I feel like this is a good time for people to be themselves.
What about when it comes to being in the comedy space and sometimes as a woman being compared to male comedy? And what I mean by that is, do you think that there are certain things that women can't do in comedy that men are able to do or don't get at least like they're not under the same magnifying glass?
I don't think it's like a thing where like women can't do a certain thing that men can do on stage. I do think there's like people have their own preconceived notions of what women
Would
should
want
be
to talk
talking about.
Mhm.
Yeah, just because of society and we're like culture to be like to think in a certain way or to perceive people in a certain way. Like I just released a stand-up special called The First Woman. It's out now. And
Congrats.
I talk a lot about the female anatomy and body parts and periods and all kinds of things. And I've definitely had audiences, like male audience members, react negatively and but
What do you
not
mean by
and
negatively?
audibly, just like ew, gross, bleh, ugh, why are you saying that? like being audibly grossed out. But then like that opens up a fun moment because then I talk to them and I'm like, well, why do you think that's gross? Like, what? Tell me what your thoughts
And
are.
what do
Let's
they say?
dissect this.
I'm very curious too.
They're always very embarrassed and they like clam up really quick, or they're just like, I don't know, I just think it's weird to talk about. And I'm like, why?
But that's where you came from, love.
Like we can talk about anything. And also periods are funny. They're crazy. Like this thing happens to us that we can't
It's
control
insane.
every month. Like it is like,
you're
why not
literally
talk about
bleeding
it?
out. Like the amount of like if you wear a Diva cup, you're like, this isn't killing me.
Yes.
Exactly. I'm on the freaking floor, not the Diva cup. I'm very scared about putting those in there. It just all feels like too many mechanics.
You're
Like, I'm
scared
like,
about putting do you know what you just pushed out of your body? Like you're scared to put
a whole fucking baby.
a cup
Just put
inside
some
of
silicone
you.
up
You
in
had
there.
a watermelon come out of you.
Imagine stuffing my baby back in. Like, I think that would be like a lot harder than the
But a
coming
Diva
out.
cup is way smaller than a
Very
baby.
small. Very small. And you fold it up. It's very little.
Also smaller than a dick. It's like
Hilarious. I mean, are we sure
Well,
about
smaller
that? 'Cause
than
I've seen
most.
some dicks. No,
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
I guess it depends on
Right.
who's.
It's a range of them out there, Sasheer. It's a range. No. So I mean, I feel like, what do we all consider to be raunchy? Because to your point, when you talked about the period, the guy thought that was raunchy. To me, that's absolutely not raunchy. So when does it get raunchy to you guys? Like, and how do we know, like, oh shit, we're about to go there,
I don't think very much is raunchy because
Oh,
I don't
wow.
think anything is an anomaly. I don't think anybody is singular. I think we all have like a lot of shared experiences where it's like, if you talk about most aspects of sex, people have done it. If you talk about shitting, everyone's taken a shit.
But
Like
I do
can't.
think that it's raunchy. I think that being raunchy doesn't mean it's necessarily taboo, but I think it's the fact that you talk. I mean, my understanding of raunchy is the fact that you're talking about it, because absolutely everyone has pooped before. But I do think if you go on stage and you're like, so I took a big ass shit and I was looking at it in a toilet.
That's funny.
It totally would be seen as raunchy, but it's like fine, right? You know what I'm saying?
I think so. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's totally fine depending on your perspective. Like, there's not much that's going to make me uncomfortable because that's me, but that doesn't mean it's not raunchy or it's not left. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
What do you think?
I guess
Sasheer?
it's like I don't know, things like when you're little that you're taught that's like, that's an indoor
Ooh.
thing. Like, you don't, like, pooping is yourself.
Yeah. Stuff that we're supposed to consider private.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe that's
But
where
I
it
think
gets
those
raunchy.
moments are fun because then you start learning like, oh, like we all share this experience. Like if someone brings it up, especially if it's a woman or just like someone who you relate to that you wouldn't expect to be talking about this kind of stuff, then you're like, oh, that person like does this weird sexual thing too, or like watches this kind of porn or whatever. Like it makes us feel like more like
connected,
common, I guess. Yeah, we have a common denominator. I think it's good to talk about this stuff and like be open because you'd be surprised at how many people have had the same thing.
I do too. And I want to know how you guys have dealt with, because like you said, you did the one comedy and somebody had a feeling about the period thing. I think a lot of people, when they experience stuff like that, it could make them say, let me rethink that piece, or, oh, let me try to like dial my stuff back, or, you know, and whether it's in professional life or even personal life, I'm sure all of us have been a place where we showed an aspect of ourselves and people are like, whoa, or whoa. And so to people that are listening and like that may have that experience and it actually does affect how they move forward, which would then affect their authenticity. I want to know how you guys didn't let it affect you. Like in the moments in your life where people kind of were responded adversely to just you being yourself. How did you stop that from stopping you from being yourself?
People's opinions they do matter. I won't say they don't matter. But there's people who like me and there's people who don't like me. So I choose to be like, I don't know, these people who like me, they're going to keep coming to see me. They're going to keep watching my shit. And the people who don't like me are going to spend time commenting on my Instagram about how they don't like me. So I'm also taking up time in their brain too. So I'm doing a pretty good job.
Either way, you're giving me views and I love that.
Yeah, there's this man on my Instagram recently. He was like, I don't like how you read messages from Tinder in your comedy. And he's like, it's not nice. And I was like, but the messages I'm getting are not nice. So like, why can't I write about it?
By the way. They're mine.
Yeah, they're mine.
Yes, yeah.
So they sent them to me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. What about you, Sasheer? I didn't want to see if you had anything to say on that.
Yeah, I agree with Nicole. Like, I'm not really concerned about the people who don't like me because they don't actually affect my life that much. Like, I guess they can scream online, but I'm not really looking for that. And everyone in my life that I see and talk to likes me a lot. So I kind of just focus on those.
What you both are just saying is focusing on the love, focusing on the love. I think it's so much easier said than done sometimes because I do think everybody deep down wants to be liked. You know, we're human beings and we never want to like, create I don't know anybody that necessarily wants to create an awkward situation. I know I don't. But I do think it's good to remember that, okay, well, you know, you don't have to like me and that's fine. And we can coexist. The whole concept of coexisting, I think sometimes we like really, everybody doesn't really understand what that means. It means that I get to be myself and you get to be yourself and we don't have to be friends, or we can. But it honors both of our autonomy. So let's like just, you know, let it rock.
Yeah, I think people forget that you can just dislike something. And that's it. You don't have to tell people.
To hop online. You don't got to tell anybody. You could tell a friend at dinner, I watched something I didn't like, and then I can say at dinner. You don't have to tell the people who worked hard on it.
I do think the internet is like on some Matrix shit where it's like people think like that's the real world and that's how we act in the real world and that's okay and that, you know, I don't know what that is, but it truly is just the internet world because in real life, imagine somebody coming up to you and saying, I hate your shirt. I mean, that would be absolutely nuts. You would just be like, are you for real, motherfucker? Like, what are you, first of all, why are you over here? You know, I
who
don't
are you?
know you. You came out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, and by the way, your whole outfit stinks. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Why are you talking to me?
Exactly. So what about this? Whenever you are, because obviously in our careers, we're in different settings each time. I'm not saying that somebody's saying, hey, come do a comedy show at my church. But you might have to do comedy in unique places, scenarios. Has anybody ever tried to get you to curve your topics? Or have you said to yourself, okay, you know what? These are going to be kids. I'm about to be doing some college kids. Let me try to change up what I'm talking about. Have you ever had to do that? Do you think it's cool to do that? Or are you kind of like, it's for everybody and everybody's got a deal?
Well, we've definitely done college shows where they told us before we get on stage, please, like, no cursing or like no like sex stuff. And we're like, oh,
Ooh, it's like, okay,
Gotta go.
so
That's
what
the
do
show.
I talk about? What do I do?
And of course, that's the only thing we can think about because they just said it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did a college show. It was maybe the University of Minnesota or something like that. Right before I went on stage, they were like, just so you know, or no, maybe they told me right after I got on stage. I don't remember. It was lost in communication. They were like, it's Friends and Family Day. So there was actual babies in the audience. Or I'm like, I hate babies. Put them in the overhead bin. And like just talking about sex and stuff. And then they sent a apology on my behalf. I was like, I don't apologize. Yeah, I didn't know about this. They sent an apology to the people who went to the show on my behalf, and I was like, nah, the check cleared. Also, there was babies in the audience. It was wild.
Wait, they wrote a letter in your name?
Yeah, like on my behalf to be like, I'm sorry I did that performance.
Yeah.
But don't you think it's kind of on the people that hired you or that have commissioned you to
Yes.
know what your
Yes.
material is about? It's like, babes, if we're doing
Yes.
kindergarten kids, you got to hire Elmo, not me.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like I do wonder, like, where does their brain go when they decide to hire somebody that is not apparently, PG-13 or wherever they're looking for? That to me is always so strange.
Yeah.
Um,
Unfortunately, when people are like curating events, not everyone is experienced with the talent part of it or
Mhm.
like the booking of it. And so then they'll be like, yes, comedy. That'll be good for everybody. But they're not like, oh, this is a library opening. Or like, this is a this is a graduation.
The funny thing is, I
Like,
actually do think that you guys are the perfect people for college. I think sometimes people don't want to maybe admit that college kids know every fucking thing that we're talking about. It's like, guys,
oh
they're not
yeah.
babies. They need to
Mhm.
talk about this stuff. And they also need to talk about this stuff in a way that feels casual and relaxed because some of
Mhm.
the life themes can be quite intense. And I think it's important to make a joke of it. So I actually think college kids, do need that kind of conversation.
Yeah, I think the college kids are fine. I
Yeah,
think it's the
they're
people,
fine. It's the adults.
administration who are like, oh,
Yeah.
they shouldn't be listening to this kind of stuff. And it's like, no, the
They
kids are,
already listening to it.
They
exactly,
listen
exactly.
to it.
They already
They're
know.
18. They're old as fuck. Yeah, it's
They're
really
Right.
wild.
Come on, they're old as fuck because they're 18.
Huh?
That takes me out. They're old as fuck. You said something really interesting to Sasheer at the top of the conversation we were talking about. You were like, it's not so much that women can't do it, it's that people are more expecting of maybe certain other people to say certain things. So they're more prepared for it.
Mhm.
They're looking forward to it. They expect it. So as a woman, what kind of jokes do you think that people expect you to say? Like, what are the jokes that you've gotten like a really obvious laugh on?
I mean, I feel like I've been labeled like a political comedian for most of
Mm,
my career.
mm.
And I don't particularly talk about politics. Like I'm not
What?
talking about like candidates or the government or anything like that. I do talk about my experience as a Black woman in America, and
Right.
that can be political. And so I think people see that and they're like, oh, she's a political comedian. And so they expect me to like kind of be very righteous or
Mm.
do jokes that are very, and I do jokes that are righteous sometimes. I mean, sometimes I'll get on a soapbox, but
Come on,
uh
soapbox.
but sometimes I like to I don't know, be a little stinker and talk about something that's
Yeah,
that's
show that you're
nasty.
multifaceted. Like, I'm not always
Yeah.
walking around talking about this. Come on, y'all.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm not always like trying to teach someone something or like change a perspective. Sometimes I just want to talk about like this bad date I had
Okay.
or whatever. Like something that entertains me. But I've had people sometimes feel like, oh, this is not what I expected. But then hopefully be pleasantly surprised.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What about you, Nicole?
I think people tend to think I'm more family friendly or like kid friendly with my comedy than I am because I host this baking show that kids like. So when I tour, clubs will get calls that are like, can I bring my kid? Is it all ages? And it's like, it simply is not unless you want your kid to learn something about my anatomy.
Oh, that's
Um,
sweet. You know who that reminds me of? That reminds me of the amazing Bob Saget. Remember how people would
yeah.
be when they would go to his
Yes.
comedy show?
Yes.
They were
Yeah.
expecting Danny Tanner.
Yes.
And he's like, no, Busta what?
Yeah. Yeah. And then after shows, people will be like, my kid loves you so much and they wanted to be here, but I'm glad they weren't. And I liked you. You were very different than I thought you would be.
Mhm.
But yeah, it is I do think I have the Bob Saget-ism.
I love it.
Mhm.
I mean, it's duality, right? Come on, it's duality. That's what we're giving the kids. That's important. Um, your perspective, Nicole, in my opinion, really does. I want to know what you guys think, but it makes me feel like society is changing a lot, especially just your viewpoint in the way that you're approaching some of these typical concepts like, oh, is it harder for women, blah, 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 or is it easier for men, blah, blah, blah. Your perspective seems to be kind of really like, it could be, it couldn't be, but I'm doing me,
Yeah,
I want to know if that's just like your mentality, or do you actually feel like in the field, that's what you're picking up on?
I mean, gone are the days of like a stand-up blowing up, getting a sitcom, having that sitcom and becoming Tim
Mm.
Allen. Do you know what I mean? So it's like
Damn
success
it.
has so
Drat.
so many so many roads to get to like what you want. And what is
Mhm.
success? Is
Yeah,
success
yeah.
a TV show? Is it just touring? Is it, doing ads on Instagram while you're doing stand-up sets as well? Like, what is it? And
Mm.
I think there's room for everybody.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say that it is not harder for women, trans, non-binary people. I think men do still have a leg up in the world. But I do think the world has made it a little easier for people to reach different levels of success.
Yeah, well, let's talk about it. What do you guys think success is? Because I do love how we're all redefining what that means, right? It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't always mean I'm in a $1 million home or $1 billion or the shit that I got a home anyway. Some people love living in the unhoused, honey, got a little
Yeah.
trailer parked up on the side. So what does success look like for you guys at this point? Because I'm sure it's changed.
Mm-hmm.
I want to keep growing and adding more to my craft. I act, I do stand up, I write, and I'm like taking directing classes right now because I want to
Oh,
direct one
yes.
day. So yeah, I kind of want to just like keep growing in my field and learning new things so I can get to a point where I can keep putting out my own content, because I feel like the stuff that I like doing the most is putting out things that really express my voice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just being creative, sound like.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that same answer. I I just want to keep working and keep making people
Yeah,
smile.
exactly.
I had an epiphany the other night. I was like, oh, I think I was like put on this earth to make people happy.
Aw, I
Because
like
making
that.
people happy makes me happy. Like, I love getting off the stage being
Yeah.
like, ooh, for an hour, people didn't think about like the shit going on in the world or in their lives. Like, they just
Mhm.
laughed, and I could do that for them. And that feels like nice and powerful. And then, more acting. I'd like to continue being a thespian. Um,
I feel the exact same way that you do, Nicole. Until recently, I kind of had an epiphany of was like, am I this dancing clown that can't stop dancing? So I'm trying to like, I'm trying to find like, oh no, is my worth intrinsically connected to my ability to entertain others? Oh no. So I'm like trying to also find the balance outside of
mhm.
what our gift is, which I think is so difficult, guys, because it's like you can have a gift and it's like, of course I have a gift I'm supposed to share with the world. Like what God didn't give it to me just so I can rest on my laurels. But then it's also this thing where it's like, but also God said you're great just as you are.
Yes,
Mhm.
and God wants you to rest on your laurels sometimes.
Right. But it's so difficult sometimes because like you said, it's so fulfilling to know that you gave something to someone or that you've allowed them a relief in a moment. So this world is crazy. Well, that actually makes me want to ask you guys this question because I think this movie was so much about this. But I do think a lot of people took other things from it. Maybe you've seen it, maybe you haven't. Barbie.
Mhm.
Did you
Oh.
guys see it? If you did, what'd you think? We don't have, you don't have to make it seem like it's perfect. I really want to get into it with you gals.
I am one of 2 people in the world who has not seen it.
Oh, you haven't seen it. Boom. Got it.
I
Damn it. I
know,
feel
I
like you
know,
would
I
have
just gotta
something so
get
good to
there.
say.
I did see it and I loved it.
She said, I
I,
did see it.
I did see it. I already knew I was gonna love it just from all the marketing. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm already all in,
Yeah.
head first, and
What did you think
uh,
about the message? Like how she decided to do it? You know what I mean?
I liked how like they kept this theme of like um people in the real world, like the women in the real world, weren't getting like all the stuff that the Barbies were getting in the Barbie world. There was like a all-woman Supreme Court in Barbie world, and like everyone, like there were so many leadership roles, and it was just very illuminating at like, oh no, we don't have the dream world happening in real life.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was a really clever way to shine light on the fact that we still have a lot of room to grow society wise.
Yeah.
And that women can do anything. It was great. Also, I love the Ken dance. It was really great. It was
the Ken
very
moment
fun.
was everything. Like, I really loved them for letting him get into his Disney bag.
Yes.
Like, let him live out his Disney bag dream, y'all. Because that really would give me life. I love the movie too. I did. I thought it was unique, a unique approach and take. And I thought it was like, I know obviously so much of it represents a feminist perspective, but I also think it was very individual based. Like, it was very much so about all of us, not just Barbie, but Ken included, to stop seeing ourselves in connection to other things, to people, to hell, maybe even jobs. Like I was just talking about 5 seconds ago. That we are good on our own. We're good just being us. We don't have to be Barbie the doll, or Ken Barbie's man, or Keke the performer, or Nicole the comedian, or Sasheer the comedian. It's like we are our own person, and I really did love that.
We are enough.
Yeah, we are enough. Let them know we are enough.
Baby, this is Keke Palmer, yeah.
So I know the world is always talking about all the things that women can't do because they're women. I'm curious what you guys think we get away with because we are women. For instance, vulnerability. Like, I think that it is unfortunately much more encouraged for us to be vulnerable and to say how we feel, or to cry, or to have emotions in that way. I do live for that because I cannot imagine how much pressure it would be to go into a world that's like pushing me to be so toxically masculine and not have any emotions, or whatever people think that includes. Like, I'm very happy. Like, I love that, we don't maybe have that pressure.
Yeah. I saw, I don't know, some Instagram video of like, I think actually, Nicole, I think you sent it to me. It was like, new ick unlocked, and it was a guy. It was a guy floating in the water, and he was like just like floating, and then the camera dipped under the water, and you saw his legs like gracefully like kicking him,
his little
afloat.
toes pointed.
Yeah, his pointed toes. And then people, there were like men in the comments who were like, wow, we can't even like float. Like, we can't even like move our legs to stay alive. It's like, yeah, people are like, ew, yuck, you're like being too dainty and trying to stay afloat.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's just messed up.
It's messed up. Yeah, it makes
a
people
really
point their
funny
toes
video,
if they
though.
want to. It is very funny, but it's like, damn, yeah, we can't even let
this
men
man
just
can't
stay afloat.
Okay, well, you two are hilarious, and I really love this conversation. But before we go, I want to play a game called This One Has Some Sweetness to It. It's a little raunchy, okay? I'm going to ask you guys some questions that are a little spicy, sexual, and risque, and you have to give me your honest answer. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
Okay. Number 1, missionary or doggy style?
Doggy style. It gets in
Ooh.
deeper.
I think I must be a little scared. Missionary all day.
Ooh, I think I'm also gonna say doggy style. It does.
How about to have me try some shit out tonight?
Yes.
I just feel like I'm always
you got
like,
it.
woo,
It's deeper.
you know what I mean?
Also, try this if you like missionary, but you want a little deeper. Hang your little butt off the bed, legs up in the air, have them stand at the bed, and then pull you in. Woo, woo, woo.
Bitch, yes. Y'all just put me on to something. Okay. When do you feel most sexy? When you put your sexy vibe on.
With like a after a glass of sparkling rosé.
Ooh, rosé does it. I'm not mad.
Rosé does it. Yeah.
If I'm being honest, I don't quite ever feel sexy. And I think that's okay. I don't think we're all meant to be sexy in this world. I know other people find me sexy, but like, I just find myself cute and adorable. I don't know. I make funny noises when I go down on people. Like, I'm just having a nice time.
So I relate to you on the I feel like naturally, okay, I feel like very, very cute and adorable. And I do feel sexy. However, I'm not sure it's like what other people define as sexy, but I do feel the feeling of what I think is sexy, which is confident, fierce, and just kind of like I'm owning it. I feel like that when I'm being funny. Oh my gosh, when somebody's laughing at my fucking jokes or I'm killing it around the dinner table, I'm like, oh yeah, that's sexy.
Okay. Well, if I do it like that, I guess it's like when I'm on set and I fucking nail something, and then people come up to me after and they're like, Nicole, that was really incredible. And I'm like, wasn't it?
Don't you just feel so cunt? It's so good.
Yes.
Okay, what is the most scandalous location you've had sex in? I feel so boring whenever these questions are asked because it's like I'm not that fucking scandalous. Damn. I need to get more scandal in my life. Hold the Kerry Washington.
I mean, it wasn't
bathroom? Oh wait, sorry, Sasheer, go ahead.
Oh no, go for it.
You go for it.
You already said the place.
Exactly.
We did
already hear her.
Yes, a bar bathroom.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that's the most scandalous place.
A taxi cab.
Ooh, girl, you just set my world on fire. Yes, mama. Oh my gosh, did you was it like we just came from dinner and when we get in this taxi cab, I'm tearing you up? Or was it like, that was a great dinner, we're getting in the taxi cab, oh my gosh, you're looking at me, I can't take my hands off of you. Like how did you get there?
Well, I guess it was like after some drinks and we actually came from a basketball game. It wasn't even like dinner. And I don't know.
Basketball moment.
Yeah. And I was just feeling a little tipsy and we had a long drive to get back home. And we just started touching, then doing other things.
That is hot.
Hot.
Mine is the most scandalous. I think this is like everybody's been here when they were a teenager. Like a car or some shit. Like it's not anything like really interesting and intriguing. I got to work on that too. So I got the doggy
I once gave someone a blowjob in an Uber. And you know how Ubers don't have like a glass divider? He knew exactly what was happening. He went, "Aw, man."
Oh man!
Just in a Honda Civic and a man who's very upset driving. Oh,
I wonder what your rating is.
Right.
Must be pretty bad.
It's like 1 star. We don't pick her up anymore.
What is the most risky thing you've done at work? Oh, wait a minute. I just remember I did do it in a trailer once. That's probably the riskiest I did. And we had to be careful because those trailers aren't steady.
They sure are not.
They're rocking and rolling, child.
You'll wobble right off those little wood pegs, tumble right down a hill.
That's probably
it wasn't
not the mic falling.
I got too excited.
You said, "Ooh, sex in a trailer." Woof.
Oh my God. That scandalized me.
Hilarious.
Let's see. Work. Well, I did fuck someone in the bathroom of where I worked. I also snuck somebody into my trailer, but we only kissed. We didn't do anything else.
We kept it PJ.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
I've had sex in the dressing room before.
Yeah.
And that was fun. Because
it was like, ooh, somebody
I've never heard this.
Look at that. Look at me opening up secrets you didn't know about your girl.
I can't believe this. You've had sex in a dressing room?
Yeah.
Before a show?
The glasses are truly a character. Can we talk about that? Like when somebody really shakes me up, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Glasses
they add a lot of comedy.
Yes.
My nose ring fell out. What? I can't believe it.
What is the biggest turn on for you right now? The biggest turn on for me is always and will always be vulnerability. Oh my gosh, I live for it. Emotions. Yeah. I need emotions. Show me your soul.
Yeah. I like vulnerability, but also I dated someone who looked at me like he had never seen me before every time he looked at me. And that made me feel so special.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's nice.
That sounds special. I'm on that too right now.
Yeah, I want it too.
I like when people are vocal, like saying how they feel or what they're thinking. Like, you're so hot, or
Oh,
I love the
yes.
way you do X, Y, and Z. I love the way this look. I want to hear
Yes,
it. I need the
affirmations,
the words of affirmation. Yes, exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah, that is always good.
Mhm.
Okay, last but not least, what's a fantasy you could get down with? That's so hard. I pretty much just asked you guys to write a script. Like, what the fuck? Build me up a fantasy right here, right now.
Okay, so me and my partner are coming back from a lovely vacation where it was like, I think we went to Greece and there was lots of water and dancing and sex and it was nice. And then we fly home and we're tired and then we take a shower and then we cuddle on the couch and we order takeout and we watch our favorite movie and then we fall asleep together because we have to start our next day together because we love each other so much.
This is beautiful. I love that.
Your laugh was so freaking funny. I feel like we're kind of the same, but also I remember that you're a Virgo, so that's why I feel so on par with you because everything you say, it just
Are you
really
a Virgo
is
too or a
aligning.
Leo?
I'm a Virgo.
Yes.
And that's why every time you're saying something, I'm like, oh yeah, she's a Virgo. That's why it feels so familiar. Because mine would be similar. Like, let's backpack in our trailer and live and feel this mundanity and like just totally like stop in different cities and eat the food from diners, dive-ins, and drives. Let's just park up and just watch DirecTV in the trailer. You know what I mean? Let's cook a little bit. Let's eat ramen noodles, and let's land back like at my parents' house and visit them for a bit before we make our way back home again.
That's nice.
We're so in love.
Yeah. I want to see like a bunch of exotic places. I don't want to do all the exotic activities, but I want to like be lazy in a lot of beautiful places.
Yeah, I really do feel you on that because I'm not always trying to jump in a cenote, y'all.
Exactly.
Damn, too much.
Yeah, I don't need to like cliff dive or anything, but I would love to like be next to something really pretty and eat really good food. And then, fuck all over the place. And then go home.
Fabulous. Fabulous. You guys are fabulous. You guys are amazing. Thank you for hanging out with me. I'm ready to get some tickets to your next show, so don't forget about me. I'm looking for them to be comped. Thank you.
She's like, to be specific,
free. I will come, but for free.
Exactly. No, but seriously, you guys are so much fun, and thanks for coming on the show.
Yes, thank you for having us. This was so fun.
Very fun.
But of course. A joy to spend this time with you. As always, time to say goodbye. But we'll be back. And until then, it's your girl.
Baby, this is Keke.